We have an absolute loaded show on this edition of the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff. There are so many different reports on Kevin Durant right now. It is actually even hard to sort through, and it feels like every 25, every 30 minutes, a new quote from an insider or talking head comes out about their thoughts on KD, on where he could ultimately end up. It's hard to keep track of, but we got quotes from Zach Lowe today, The Athletic, the lead Phoenix Suns insider, and we'll sort through them all and kind of give my thoughts on it. But I'll tell you what, I kind of just want the KD saga to end. I'll be honest. I either want the Heat to acquire him so we can start thinking about what the next move is and seeing what this roster looks like, or I want it to kind of just go away so we know if we have a draft pick and what other moves we can make. If you're with me, are you exhausted, hit that thumbs up icon. It's certainly something to talk about it every single day. All right, let's get into the latest around KD now. And I think we're going to start with what John Gambadoro said, the lead Suns reporter. He is basically the Barry Jackson of Phoenix sports, specifically the Suns. And he said that he thinks right now the Heat are unlikely to get the deal done based on what their current offer is. It would have to change dramatically, or other teams would have to bow out of the race for Miami to be able to get in there. Right now, I would think it's unlikely they get Durant. Now, I do want to also input the fact that during his radio segment talking about Miami and Kevin Durant, he did say that things can change and they could up their offer, but their current offer isn't good enough to land KD. I think there's a lot of smoke coming out right now when it comes to what teams are offering, what KD actually prefers, what the Suns prefer. I know for a fact that the Heat have not yet offered Khalil Ware in a trade. I think these reports, these rumors are all a ploy to up the offers from these teams because Phoenix currently isn't happy with what they are being offered by Miami, San Antonio, Houston. I think they like the Timberwolves package, which we'll actually get to here in a second, but KD doesn't want to extend there. Either way, the Suns are trying to drum up more interest from Phoenix, Houston, and Miami. John Gambadoro, again, saying that his point is, I don't think that Miami has the ammunition to get a deal done for Kevin Durant based on what I believe some of these other deals are. I think some of the other deals are better. And I'll actually disagree with John here. Now, I am very open to trading Khalil Ware. I think the Heat do not want to trade Khalil Ware, and I don't think they will trade Khalil Ware for KD, which is why I've actually changed my tune, and I don't think the Heat will actually land Kevin Durant. But they certainly have the ammunition. There is, sure, if each team gave their best possible offer, this Heat couldn't compete with the Suns or Spurs. The Rockets or Spurs. But when you take into factor what teams are offering, if the Heat upped their offer and was Ware, Jovic, 1 first and salary, yeah, that's going to be better than what they get from Houston or San Antonio. So I don't want to hear that the Heat don't have the ammunition to land Kevin Durant. They just aren't willing to give it up. They're being stingy right now. And you could call that a smart decision. You could call it a bad decision. The truth is, Kevin Durant's going to be 37 years old. And yes, he has already stated publicly that he would extend with Miami, and there are reports out there that the Heat would absolutely extend KD if they traded for him. But that does play a factor here. I am very much in on trading for Durant. And I think the people in the comments, the fans that are trying to diminish what Kevin Durant is because he's 37 years old come September, I think it's a bit ridiculous. I want to call some of the people out if we're going to be honest right now. The fact that you guys are saying, oh, we're trading for KD, but we didn't want to keep Jimmy. KD right now is significantly better than what Jimmy Butler is. This is not revisionist history. This is not me clowning Jimmy. It's the truth. KD just put up 26 points, 6 boards, 4 assists on damn near 50% shooting and 43% shooting from 3. KD is still a top 5, top 10 offensive player in the league. Stop trying to act like KD is on the same level as Jimmy Butler. No offense to Jimmy, I'll say it. He's the 3rd best player in Heat history behind Wade and LeBron. KD is significantly better. It's not even the same tier. KD's still a top 15 player in the league. Jimmy might not even be top 30. The fans that are trying to diminish what KD is right now need to get a grip with reality. Stop thinking KD is not a good basketball player at this point in his career. It's ridiculous. All right, let me hear it, though. What's your one-word reaction if KD gets traded somewhere else? I think it's tough to kind of say what the one word is. That's why I want to know yours. But like mine would have to be like it's not one word, but I got to wait and see what the package was ultimately given up to get KD. But let me know your one word. All right, let's transition over here to an update from The Athletic on Kevin Durant. This one's coming in from John Krasinski on KD Trade News. The Suns appear focused on landing the kind of impact players who can help now as opposed to prioritizing draft picks. With the offers from the Spurs, Rockets, and Heat coming up short to this point, league sources say the Suns are still hopeful that KD might warm to the Wolves. I truly believe that if KD had the Timberwolves on his list of teams he wanted to go to, teams that he would absolutely be willing to extend with, I think the Timberwolves would already get a trade done. Now, a trade could not be finalized until after July 1st due to their inability to aggregate contracts because they are in the second apron. But I think the Suns like what the Timberwolves are willing to offer. Now, you might ask what that is. It sounds like it's Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, and then Rob Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr., and then it's unclear if they'd be willing to trade the 17th pick as well for Durant. But I think the Suns are intrigued by adding Gobert and DiVincenzo, at least as the headlining return. But the Timberwolves are skeptical of sending that, making a seismic change to their roster if KD is not happy to be on the team and will not extend past this year. And I completely agree with Minnesota. Like, are they willing to shake up the entire roster and maybe trade a first-round pick for a player that is only going to be a one-year rental? And is that Minnesota team, if you make that change without him extending, good enough to win next season over a team like Houston, OKC, an improved Lakers team? I'm not sure it is. So to me, I understand the Timberwolves being hesitant. If KD changes his tune and says, you know what, I will extend and play with Anthony Edwards over the next 3 seasons, then I think Minnesota might actually get this trade done. But if he's not willing to extend, I don't think Minnesota's agreeing to the deal. They have the package on the table, just not going to agree to it. Now, there's also a report out there that the Houston Rockets have a firm offer on the table. This one's kind of coming in from multiple sources here. Sounds like it could be a combination of Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, maybe the 10th overall pick, unsure, or it could be like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Reed Shepherd in the 10th pick. Like, it's something in that kind of degree, in that realm. But it sounds like the Suns do not like the offer that Houston sent, but they are very firm on it. It's kind of a take it or leave it offer. We'll send it in. If you don't want you don't want that package, then we're not going to up it. It's kind of like where Miami's at this point. Like, I don't know if Miami ups their package. I think they're in the same tier as Houston in terms of here's our offer. If you want it, cool. If you don't, cool. But it feels like the Suns are clearly placing too much value on KD at this point. He's a unrestricted free agent after this year. It's an expiring contract. He's turning 37 years old. Even though I still think he's a top 15 player in the league, he's a top 10, top 5 offensive player in this league. The Suns need to come down. Because even if he is that good, still, the fact that he would need a contract extension and would only extend with 3 teams, plus his age, he's simply not going to be the value is not going to be what Phoenix traded for him when they got him from Brooklyn. And I think they kind of feel like they should be getting 2-3 first-round picks, young talent salary. I think Phoenix might be a little bit delusional right here on what they could get in return for a KD trade. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as we continue to break down the latest around the Heat and Durant every single day. When new reports come in, we will have you covered. And when Durant gets traded, if it's to Miami, we're going live. If it's to another team, we'll have you covered with a video and talk about what could be next for the Heat. Let's get to 23K subscribers ASAP, 164 away. All right, Zach Lowe went on his podcast and talked about the latest around the KD saga following Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Zach Lowe said what many people have already reported. The Heat have not included Kel'el Ware, and Zach Lowe does not expect the Heat to trade Kel'el Ware for Kevin Durant. I have thoughts on this, but listen, folks, get happy. Sounds like Kel'el Ware is staying for at least another year. Like it sounds like there isn't a player out there that the Heat could trade Kel'el Ware for. Because if they're not trading it for KD, Not sure there's another player that becomes available this offseason that they would trade Kelowna Ware for. And I want to talk to the people in the comments again. We did it a little bit earlier about how some of you guys tried to diminish how good KD is as a player. The way y'all boost up Kelowna Ware is, to be honest, disgusting. It is. I like Kelowna Ware. I want him to be a dominant player for the Miami Heat if he stays here. So I don't want this to be twisted by what I am about to say, because I want him to be as good as humanly possible if he stays with the Heat. But the fact that y'all are making him seem like the next coming of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, let's pump the brakes here, folks. He was good as a rookie. He has a lot of upside. He has the potential to be a great floor spacing, rim protecting center next to Bam Adebayo. But you guys act like he won Rookie of the Year and is already like an 18 and 10 point per game scorer. Like, can we pump the brakes? You guys prospect hugged when it came to Damian Lillard. You didn't want to trade Niko Jovic or Jaime for him. Like, Heat fans have an obsession with their own young talent. When this trade could not go through and the Heat are in the play-in again next year, I don't want to hear complaints. I don't. I am not trading Ware and draft capital. I've been clear on that. I'm not overpaying for KD. The fact that people are so hell-bent on not trading some of our young players for KD, you guys are just asking to be in mediocrity still. And I'm sick of mediocrity. I really, really am. Like, I either want to blow it up, trade Hero, maybe even a trade Bam, and just reset with draft capital, or I want to take a swing and try to compete. I'm sick and tired of trying to let these young players blossom. Sure, do they have upside? Yes. But do any of these guys show the ability to be a number 1 or number 2 on a championship-winning team? Not that I've seen. Good complementary pieces. But you don't prospect hug complementary pieces when you're trying to acquire a top 15 player in the league. It just drives me nuts sometimes, guys. I'm sorry, it does. And coming up here in a second, Zach Lowe did make a prediction on where KD ultimately lands. Before we get to that, do want to make sure y'all get your draft hats. If the Heat keep the 20th overall pick, whatever player they draft will be walking the stage in these hats, whether it's the curved black hat, the flat white hat, heck, even a bucket hat. Get your Miami Heat 2025 draft hats today. Chatsports.com/Heat 2025 draft hats. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Get yours today, right now. Zach Lowe's prediction was the Houston Rockets. It wasn't the Timberwolves, wasn't the Heat, wasn't the Spurs. It was Houston. Now, he did say that he doesn't have any insight on the matter, and this is just what his personal belief is. But I think it's interesting they go with Houston. It's been reported that the Rockets are not willing to shake up their young core. Now, if I was Houston, I would certainly trade Jalen Green for Kevin Durant because I don't think Jalen Green, is a winning basketball player in any capacity. He plays no defense. He's inefficient. And you saw last year how bad he was in the playoffs in that first-round series against the Golden State Warriors. So I don't know if I'd be willing to trade him, Reed Shepherd, and Jabari Smith for him. I don't even know if I'd want to trade the 10th pick for him because that is such a valuable draft asset in a pretty loaded class. I don't know how this ends, man. I really don't. It is starting to get taxing on my brain to a degree. And I said it to the beginning where I just want the saga to end. Like, it just feels like every day it's like, oh, the Timberwolves in the lead. And then, oh, the next day the Heat are in the lead. Oh, and the next day the Heat have no chance. And the Houston Rockets are going to trade for him. While the Spurs are still looming around. Like, it just is exhausting, man. Like, it really, really is. And if you are someone like me who prefers the Heat to get a trade for KD done without overpaying, it's got to happen soon. I tweeted this out this morning, and it's my firm belief. The more this Kevin Durant trade saga drags out, I think the less likely the Heat will land KD. The more this gets to the draft, sure, maybe the Suns will lower their asking price, but then I think the Suns might take the Spurs or Rockets offer. Like, they've got to get this done soon. And if this goes past the draft into July, well, then the Timberwolves are the team that probably will ultimately trade for KD. So I view it as an unlikelihood at this point that the Heat get KD. I was at 1.77%. Yesterday's show, I'm at 50-50. And right now, I got to be honest, I'm at 25%. I just don't see the Heat upping their offer and including Kelowna Ware. And at this point, if they don't include Khalil Ware, I don't think they get it done. Hope I'm wrong, but we'll ultimately see. If you want more thoughts on KD, the Miami Heat, and everything around the NBA, follow me over on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. And if you want anything more on Miami outside of our YouTube videos, that's the place to find it. So go give me a follow today.